Hello everyone, welcome to Deploy the Garrison Season 4, Episode 3. We have a title already. We normally come up with a title in post, but going to do some Battleforce bingo today. I'm joined, as always, by Alan. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Kris. How are you?
I'm good. It's very hot today. I was just complaining about the studio being in direct sunlight all day long. Makes me very uncomfortable all the time. It's great. But, we persevere to get the content out. But
so it's like, what, 72 degrees is hot in the UK, right?
I've got no idea what that number is. So if it was 72 degrees and we were really high, that's like almost water boiling temperature, right? Celsius, man. Celsius.
It's like 22.
I feel like, so it's 14 degrees Celsius outside, but in this room, it's probably about 22, 23. It's just sun all day long. But and I've got my key lights now to make my face glow. I need to get my my makeup people now doing video all the time. Oh,
jeez.
Yeah.
Well, so 22 is 72. Let's see, 23, 73. Yeah, so, just not terribly hot, but
and I'm wearing jeans. I always
uncomfortable
wear jeans.
if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm happy around 8 degrees. I'll just put a sweatshirt on. Wear a jumper. It's fine. But as I said, our main topic today, we're going to do some Battleforce bingo. It's going to involve basically a little bit of research, and I don't feel like it's wish listing. I feel like we're going to make some educated guesses. Again, this is kind of riffing on what we spoke about last time about the gauntlet having been thrown, as not knowing what's coming. So I'm going to pick that up and run with it and drag Alan along, kicking and screaming.
You really just took that personally. They're like, you have no idea. You're like, challenge accepted, sir.
The secret is, if I talk about it enough and throw enough crap at the wall, one of them will stick and I'll be like, yes, Kris is a genius. And then no one will listen anyway, and it'll all have been redundant. For our officers mess, we have back to normal service. Alan's got lots of Legion to talk about, and I have basically
we got
none.
games.
Yeah. So normal service resumed. Well done. But yeah, that's about it. So, this is where I'll put a sponsor read once we grow as a podcast and get all of those sponsors coming in. But at the moment, we are brought to you by the Patreons. Thank you. We love all of you people. And I said I was going to do it, so like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I know it's annoying to hear, but it really helps with the algorithm. What if you want us to go away? Just subscribe on Patreon, and I'll stop doing this bit. No, it's fine. But yeah, the YouTube's been going well. Been doing that. I've spent all day yesterday trying to redesign the Discord, so make sure you join, and that'll be great. We do have those cards still to give away because they just don't seem to be going. So if you want riot control squads, before they get buffed in the upcoming update, get them while they're cheap now, i.e. free. And then we have Sleeper Cell, which you want before they get nerfed. So, I've got both of those. I think we'll do those probably in the Discord. So if you listen. And then there's what do I call it? The new channel is called Legion and Shatterpoint, right? I think I made it a combined channel.
Yeah, I think you combined them. Yeah.
I almost went AMG Star Wars, but I wanted to keep X-Wing separate. And I was like, sure. I don't like that. It doesn't feel nice. So I went with just, So that's how I've organized that. But if you join the Discord, check out the new layout. I'm in the middle of setting up all of the welcoming stuff because we're a community now. I upgraded us to a community today. Hopefully it worked. I've got no idea. All of our Chinook Squadron friends, I made that a private section where you'll be able to select the role, so you don't have to worry about getting bombarded with stuff for just playing games in Calgary. Or if there's any other communities that want those things setting up, just let me know on the Discord, and you can have your own little clubs in there as well. I'm fine. If all of you guys want to use it for your locals, I'm sure you already have your own Discord, but whatever.
Yeah, we have one. I need to go through and rebuild and change a bunch of
It took me.
those
I mean,
as well. Another guy
I'm-
started and owned it, and he transferred it to me. So
I'm very much
now
a
I have all the
boomer in this
keys
regard.
and all the responsibility.
Definitely boomering, but it took me like 4 hours yesterday, and it's not finished. But like, what should I? How do I reorganize this?
Geez.
What integration do I need to give this box? It asks for it wants admin privileges. I'm like, do you really need admin privileges? Do I need you to have the ability to delete my server? But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm learning. It's just me, so suck it up. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. And then I went and got the basing material I used because I couldn't ship it over because it all started to dry up. But the AK basing material that I use for all of my bases, so I can actually start working on my swoop bikes that I said I was going to do last time for the Shadow Collective list. So hopefully there'll be some painting going on. I've got that to do, and then I as a confessional, you guys can hear my sins. I went and bought a kill rig / hunter rig for my Warhammer 40,000 Orc army, because I can probably get more games of 40k that I can just walk to, and I was around about a hunter rig plus Warboy or whatever this weird psyker name is that comes within that box. So I've got a giant squig thing that I've finished building to try and paint as well. So hobby side should be coming along. We'll be. I'm just scared to pick up a paintbrush. It's been so long now, but it's getting there. I've got.
Yeah.
The secret is I delayed painting the Legion stuff to do this squig thing first because I don't mind as much if it comes out looking terrible. But I really like the look of my Mandos and my Shadow
But you want your
Collective.
Legion stuff to look good.
That's it, right? So I've got to get practice in on the squig and like paint, dry brush these orcs green. It'll be fine, whatever. But yeah, that's literally my entire officer's mess. I've got nothing for you, man. So hopefully you've got a bunch of games to talk about.
I do. I have a few at least. So for Star Wars Day, May the 4th, we ran a Recon tournament. And a lot of people were still used to the old skirmish rules. I don't know. I didn't play skirmish at all before it changed to Recon, so I don't know if it switched at some point. But you just share one deck between the two players. You don't you don't build a battle deck the same as you do in full size Legion. So that threw people for a little bit of loop. It's like, nope, you just draw, you shuffle up the primaries, you draw one. You shuffle up the secondaries, you draw one. You shuffle up the 3 cards, blue player pulls one advantage, red player gets the next advantage, and you go. There's no pick ban, nothing. You roll one red die. Whoever rolls it, if they get a block, they're blue. If they get a blank, the other one's blue.
Quick and dirty.
Real
it's
simple,
all right.
real quick. We're starting the game right now.
Yeah.
So there are definitely things after playing Highlander, and so we did Highlander rules, which is there can be only one. We talked about it last time.
Look at you, PSU. I'm so proud of you.
Unit type in
assumed
each one.
knowledge, and people. It could be someone's first episode. We've got to know.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
You can only have one of each type of unit. So for core requirements, you have to have different units, with the exception of GAR. They just have to be equipped completely differently. So no shared upgrades between those core, just to make them feel unique. They only have the one option right now because marksmen aren't out yet. if they had a bunch of DC-15s, I said you can use them, but because the official model is not out, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty good mix. We had 2 extra players sign up after we recorded, so we had a total of 12 that played.
Yeah, I'm looking at your
So a pretty good
Longshanks event
event. I
now.
was
Yeah.
very excited.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a
It's funny.
disappointment.
Some of the 40K guys are like, "What is?"
I
Oh,
mean,
we'll get there.
you might be top Legion player in the world, but not even top Legion player in your own store. Rude.
Don't worry about it. I'll get there. There's a reason for that. So it still includes me being just a dummy, but you know,
Anyway,
we'll get there.
Rubbing his
get
40k
there.
players' noses in it before I rudely distracted you with insults.
Yeah. So we had one of the 40K players just like, "Oh my gosh, is Legion dead?" And then the 40K TO, we talk and make sure we coordinate, and we have a pretty good rapport. Anyway, we're in the middle of our event. He just takes a picture and says, "Yep, Legion is completely dead. We're just going to ignore that there's a 12-person tournament taking up most of the store right now."
Yeah. I mean, 12's really good for
it's like, oh, come on.
For like Midwest kind of turnout. I think that's really good, man. Especially like,
well, for us,
for starters,
12 is really good.
Yeah, that's what I'd be happy with like a 12-person event for just like a casual 3-rounder. If I was running a tournament here, I would be ecstatic with a 12-person event in Wigan, and there's lots of people here. Oh.
Yeah, I was hoping for 8, just so we have even numbers in 3 rounds. We're good to go. We needed a 4th round, but pretty much everybody except the top 2 ducked out, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll start with a breakdown, and then we'll get into my rounds. But we had 4 Empire, 3 Gar, 3 Rebels, 1 Shadow Collective, and 1 CIS. We're a pretty Empire heavy store, so that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get this started. I play one of the Gar players, Liam. For some reason, he has a different name in this, but we played Close to Pocket. Surface scan. It's very similar to full size. You just have these little corners that you start in. Kind of an interesting map is a Tatooine type of thing, but he has Bad Batch in his list and a Saber tank versus my list. Oh, I should probably go into what my list was, huh? Let's see. My list is Vader, Commander Vader, with all of the trimmings. So burst of speed, force push, and saber throw. I wanted to give my Vader the most tools and most options. Callus, naked, T-21 Shore Trooper, a Flame Trooper Snow, a T-21 Snow Trooper, and a Dewback with Tenacity, HQ, and the Flamethrower. The very a mix, but realistically a pretty slow list, which presented problems.
Yeah, you still have to get around
Vader
the table.
can go fast. He didn't need to. Yeah, infiltrating Vader was a must. I had to do that for all 3 games. And so game 1, it came down to, did I need to mess with Bad Batch with Vader, or could I go towards the tank? Didn't end up needing to do either. Vader kind of went up in an L and over towards the center objective to tangle up with the tank. Basically either tying it or just shutting it down. It's a very low scoring game, but I killed his 2 core. I tied up his Bad Batch with the Dewback and Callus, and just kind of locked things down. We ended 5-2, mostly just denial of that center section. So it was very low scoring. But
yeah,
it's a good game. Game 2, was against our one of the finalists, and this one I could have won, but I made a huge misplay that cost me the game. We're playing Bunker Assault, which I haven't played Bunker Assault in either version before this game.
Yeah.
Um, and so I moved my dewback too far forward to not be able to contest my back point.
Yeah.
And then I had tied up his sleeper cell, his vet squad, and Cassian in melee. But I didn't account for the distances that we were at that he could withdraw Cassian and then move and just contest that back one. And then my dewback wasn't close enough to keep him from securing that back point, which let him blow it up on the second turn or the third turn. And that's what kind of kicked the game over. I did blow up one of his as well on the next turn after that. So we ended the game at 5-4. But if I had kept my dewback back that turn, he wouldn't have been able to get the wounds needed to blow it up in
Yeah.
the remaining time of the game. So I moved too far forward with the dewback, and it was a misplay on objectives, and it cost me the game. So
Yeah.
and I
I mean,
realized it too little, too late.
it's both bad and good, right? 'Cause that kind of thing is a good learning moment, especially if
Yeah.
you've not played that objective before. It's a very identifiable mistake, which are easy to fix. I like the losses where you can like, oh no, this was me and this is what I did wrong, because that's really easy to fix. It's like
100%.
when you go through and kind of work back, and it's really difficult to identify that decision tree that got you into the loss. Because I always hate
Yep.
for myself, you do you, but for myself, I always hate like, oh man, if I'd have just rolled that, because I can never control what I roll. Like I can have aims, I can have search
Right.
tokens, I can give myself the best odds, but I can never actually control the dice. So I always try and find and
Correct.
identify.
It's a dice game.
Yeah. Like what could I have done differently that doesn't involve those dice, and then go from there. Yeah, it's rough.
Yep.
But you know, you can't win your own event anyway, right? It's bad form.
It's bad form. Yeah, exactly. So that was, like you're saying, a very easily identifiable. I moved my dewback too far forward. I didn't account for how the mission played and his options. And it's just like, yep, that is the moment that I lost the game. We played it out and I got it close, and I was trying to see if I could get another point and tie it. But when it shook out, he still got more kill points. So
Yeah.
yeah, that dewback move was where I lost that game. It's unfortunate, but you live and you learn, you move on. We go into the next game against one of the other Imperial players, and he had Callus Iden Inferno, a Death Trooper, and then a Snow and a regular unit.
Okay, so you had enough to
Storms.
trigger tact strike then, to get the value from tactical strike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And tactical strike was, boy, it was spicy. So that one was another. I mean, I managed to
Bunker
spread
again,
things
right?
out and try and hide things that. It was bunker again. This time recon. Vader. This one was much more urban, so there was more big buildings that we had to navigate around. But Vader cruise missile with burst of speed, and then he comes in and just wraps himself up with a bunch of things. Yeah, it's pretty good when you can keep Vader safe and then just insert him into the enemy line, and then keep him safe there. Vader's really strong. So one of our mutual friends, Jeremy, He's just like, Vader's just bad. I'm like, you got to know how to use him. And like after the game, I was more inclined to give it to him that yeah, Vader may just be bad. But now after this weekend and playing Vader, uh, he's a very strong piece still. He is good, but you have to be able to tactically play him well. If you just leave him out in the open or run him out in the middle, yes, he's going to die, and you're not going to get your value out of him. So it's probably the same with all Force users in general. But
that's one of the things that Zach always used to say about. I think you as well, right? It's like what Imperial Aces should feel like in X-Wing is what Force users are in Legion. Can't remember if that was you or Zach.
That was my saying. That was me, but he agreed with me, and he was starting to say it too. Yeah. So it is a high risk, high reward piece that will just die if you mess up. Where old Imperial Aces and X-Wing, they were still pretty forgiving. But this game came down to Vader comes out on my left, along with a stormtrooper, and then the dewback kind of goes up in the middle, threatens left, and then turns around, goes back towards the right, which is not very helpful for anyone except for Kyle, who played the game. Basically, I was going towards one of his, where he sent Callus and Inferno on that side, and then had his Death Troopers as backup. And his Death Troopers were very much in the ready for, hey, we're going to stand by. And like as soon as Vader pushes out and starts moving, we are going to light his butt up.
Death Troopers being Death Troopers.
But I was able to stay bubble wrapped the whole time.
Okay.
Death Troopers being Death Troopers. And it was just like, don't like that. They also got a good shot off at the Stormtroopers. So they went around the building trying to hide and contest and things like that. But Master of Evil is like, hey, I'm going to stand by. And Vader says, okay, here's a bunch of suppression.
I was just looking at what that card was called. So I was going to mention that's a really good counter to standby spam. If you can time it for like the Deploy the Garrison turn, stuff like that, where those tokens get handed out, and you can kind of just, oh, look at that, you lost your token.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very, very fun
and
card.
Yeah. So my kind of go-to cards were always, not always, because there was a time where I used Face Me with Callus.
Yeah.
In the first game, I wanted to keep Bad Batch from moving away from me. It's like, nope, you're staying right here, sir. But with a game against Kyle, it was so Darkness Descends, so I can infiltrate Vader. That was the same against all 3 games. Then my next one, it depended on what I needed to do. So in the first game, I didn't need my Implacable. But in the other 2 games, I ended up like dive bombing, speed 3 versus speed. And so the next turn I play Implacable, which after the first activation is when you get rid of your Immobilize. You kick his token back, and then the second one, he can move again if he needs to.
Yeah.
But you have to plan for that first activation not being able to move. And then, of course, Master of Evil, just here's a billion suppression. Good luck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we never pulled the bring them to heal secondary across my days, so I didn't get to capitalize on that. But I shut down one side, and then Callus got in at the end on the other side and started contesting the other one that I didn't blow up. And so that one was pretty resoundly defeated. He killed almost all of my squads. A lot of my squads only had one guy left in them, but they were all still alive. And so it was a rout, unfortunately. Sorry, Kyle.
It's
but that loss kicks me out of the top running, and then with SOS and everything else, I end up at 4th. One of the guys from out of town got top Imperial. He got more kill points than I did. As our tiebreaker, we had the same strength of schedule, but he killed more than I did.
I'm just looking through your event on Longshanks
Good on him.
now. I can tell this
Yep.
is your meta that you've kind of shaped. Okay, so it's a 12-player recon event. Oh, okay, that was 2 saber tanks. Oh, weird.
Well, we have a lot of vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in response to me or like it's just we like our vehicles. But yes, 2 sabers. We've got a van on the Shadow Collective.
Yeah. But the thing that I really do like is so this is basically pre-show, folks. We were chatting and Alan posted the link so I could kind of look at it, and it was a Longshanks link, and I was like, oh Longshanks, oh. I was like, oh, Kris.
Hey.
Because I've been using roll better for my Legion
Longshanks is
events.
fine. I don't know what your problem is.
No, I mean, I'm looking at it now, and it's a lot cleaner, and like this is really cool. Like going through like 3 Agent Calluses in a 12-player event with 4 Legion players, 4 Imperial players. So 3 of them took a new Callus.
We all are like, ooh, new Callus. No, let's try new Callus.
That's what I mean, right? And it's cool, and it's all that information is just there at your fingertips, and man, only 8 copies of standing orders. Me thinks that some people didn't submit lists properly.
Yeah, that's it's basically it. It's a casual event that
it's doesn't really matter. I'm just ragging on you now, but yeah. But it's really cool.
Sure.
I'm glad that you did a recon event because I was one of the things. Obviously, I'm having that adjustment phase and like having to let go and just be a player and do all of that stuff. And I was like, oh, I really want to do, and you kind of did it, so I got to live vicariously through you. But yeah. So Gar took the day.
So it did, and I wanted to talk about Recon. We'll get there. Recon, since you touched on it, is a different meta, like things that you want to build for than the full 1,000 points, like because you have a fixed set. Like these are the events, and they're all random. You really want to try and probably build a list for those 3 primaries and 3 secondaries.
Yeah,
which being Highlander
was
more
trying
difficult. To get people away from making these super meta heavy lists.
Clones inherently have that advantage, right? Because they can spam clone trooper infantry,
short range army, and it's shorter.
Well, it's not even a short range army. It's that thing of like, oh, they don't have to take the speed 1 units because they don't. Like you're playing Highlander. At some point, you've got to run into a worse corp. You like what was Zach's old thing of the rebel troop attacks? Clones don't have to do that because they're just playing clones. So it's like looking at that list, it was a naked clone troopers with Boyle, a clone, and then that's it. So he added Boyle to get some more recon, some more scout moves. He's got Rex with recon intel, which gives him more scout moves. Like, oh, weird.
Yeah. So this list is more or less my full-size clone elite that's been reduced down to a Highlander and Recon level thing, and it is a very powerful list in 1,000 point, and it is extremely powerful in Recon. Just like the short range threat of the Arcs and Bad Batch and even Rex at the this point level, and then he's got Delta because I mean if you can only take one
why wouldn't you?
Commando, you just take Delta and oh boy,
all of the
this game
models
ended in a tabling. the game ended in a tabling. It was gross.
I mean, yeah.
And this was like this rebel was our activation skew. I say that in big air quotes there, but he had 8 acts, whereas most everybody else had 6.
Yeah.
Did not matter. Man, those clones and area terrain was very interesting. It is very. There's a couple of weird.
Yep. It's interesting,
Slightly
right?
less intuitive interactions, but on the whole, it's pretty neat. I like it.
Like I said, I called it out on the last show, right? At the end of the last show, I called it out. I think I even timestamped. I may have timestamped the episode. I don't actually know if YouTube did it correctly, but I tried to do timestamps this time and everything. Look how we've grown as content creators. But I called out area terrain, and that it's something people should be using because it's interesting. But you do have to have that mindset of how it's going to interact and what it means. I am not touching it, so I'm safe. I've touched it. I am no longer safe. But neither are you.
Yep. Correct. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of little bits that are like, that's interesting. And everybody's discovering that, and it's just like, hey, is this how that works? Yes, that's how that works. It's a little bit different now, but
you're not behind that tree at all. You are in the trees, and I'm just shooting at the unit in the trees.
Correct. Yep.
So I do have one more question, just on a kind of a meta competitive focus. Obviously, I see part of the list is putting the clone medic in the ARC troopers. It's obviously something that was spoken about as a another buff to ARCs.
Yep.
How did that go?
For the person playing it, it went great. For everyone else, poorly. I don't know if that's a good idea.
It feels cheap, right?
It's
like 20 points. 20 points in
cheap.
A clone infantry unit feels fine. 20 points
in
for an extra.
Way too cheap.
Because you're buying the dice pool, right? You're buying impervious armor, like you
scale charge.
Yeah. It's ooh.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is too good, because it's the same problem we had with the when they could take the cheap clone commander, because the clone commander was like 20 or 22 points once upon a time as well. And that gives them reliable 1, which helps their offense. But arguably, the medic is better, purely because you shoot them, they lose a mini on the way in, and it's like, no, they didn't.
It's not even that, right? The medic in this list is gross because it's healing Bad Batch or it's healing Delta Squad. Like, it's not like any of your units. Yeah, it's not like any of these units are filled with bad models.
Exactly. It was brutal. It's one of my buddies. He's actually the head judge for SWU events and stuff like that, and we kind of help each other. Like, I help him practice for SWU, he helps me practice for Legion. He's a good player, and it's just like, I didn't want to push too hard on anything, but it's like, that's basically my good list, and I stopped playing it for a reason. So you're a terrible person. You should feel terrible.
I'm a big fan of anyone taking.
It's 100% legal.
No, I'm a big fan of anyone taking really good lists and then pushing back against you, right? Because if you're in 100%. That kind of that smaller store meta, and like you've deliberately toned down. We've had these conversations off air in the past about like, well, you either something's got to give, and part of it's going to have to be you taking less part, because you don't want to just play badly. To kind of even it out, you've got to kind of tailor it in list building to give yourself that challenge to kind of grow as a player and get better. Because if you got that winning list, but you're not getting the level of practice that you're looking for, so other people kind of find those lists themselves and kind of bringing them to a
Yep.
table is only going to help everybody grow and get better. So I'm happy to see it. I'm glad you got
Yep.
your ass kicked.
I didn't actually play against that list, but if I did, I
No,
think I would have got my
you
butt
didn't. You
whooped.
didn't even earn it.
Yeah, well, you know.
Oh, but
Oh,
yeah,
well.
it's good. Um,
Yeah,
anything you
I
want to
think it is
cover
good.
before I move us on to main topic? Kind of, we've
I was
had our
just going to riff
competitive
off
talk
what
there.
you mentioned.
Hmm.
Part of the reason why I really wanted to try Highlander was because it forces a more casual mindset. It's like, hey, we can't be turbo competitive with Recon. So that tones me down. And then it's like, well, Empire's the worst faction. I like Empire. Most of my stuff in Empire's painted. I'm going to use Empire. So it's me putting those restrictions on myself, like you were saying, to try and grow as a community leader and be a better opponent to play against rather than just always bringing the curb stompy list. So someone else did it. It wasn't my fault this time, guys.
It's okay. So yeah, as we discussed at the start, we have another ad read here. You know, change topics, get those ad reads in, folks. So what we've done, Patreon, we've pushed Discord. Well, Discord. I can't even speak. Terrible. I would never sponsor us. The host can't talk. Website, Alan. We should talk about the website because I've been publishing articles to go along with the episodes where you get to kind of watch and read a breakdown of it all as well. So that's been fun. Slightly challenging to coordinate everything releasing at the same time, but you know, we're getting there. So yeah, check out dissect.com, the main sponsor of this episode. Yay. But yeah, for the main topic, we have some Battleforce bingo. As Alan mentioned, I took personally the challenge issued by Mr. William Schick, that we have no idea what's coming. So I've been scouring the files and trying to see what we can pick up from conversations here and there. So I was literally, as I was waiting for Alan to jump on, I was watching back Notorious Scoundrel YouTube videos as well, and trying to put my finger on stuff. So the structure we're going to have, and I'll kind of link these documents in the article on a website in case you want to play the game yourself. We have the roadmap that we released at Adepticon, right? The 2025-2026 roadmap, where it talks about all different releases, and then it's got a rough thing just broken into quarters, and it goes through to Q4 2026. So I kind of went through and looked at different things, and I know Alan was looking at a couple of bits and pieces, but just we're gonna target areas where it's like, oh, this could be something. So as I said, we're not going to try to wish list too much. Not going to let hype and excitement overtake. Well, I will, because inevitably. But the way I'm going to approach it is in a logical fashion from what has been stated by AMG in various interviews and things like that. So one of the questions that was brought up by Notorious Scoundrels was obviously Battleforces and the design philosophy, and if it's going to focus on new releases being what kicks off a new Battle Force. And I kind of I didn't want to hyper focus on it too much, but there's the potential of obviously adding things to Battle Forces and changing them. As we've seen, all of the Battle Forces have been changed because they now talk about the disciplines and stuff, right, for what looks to be the custom commander stuff that we haven't seen yet, or the generic commanders going away, that kind of stuff. So I feel like not only do we have potential for new Battle Forces, we also have, like, when this thing lands, we might see a change to X Battle Force.
Sure. Yeah, and there's all kinds of new models that would fit into older Battle Forces, and maybe it's as good a time as any to revamp those. type of thing, right?
So I've got what I feel like. I'm going to open with what I think is going to be an easy win, because I feel like it's hidden in plain sight in that Wilshick just said it on a Notorious Scoundrels interview from the post-Adepticon one that were the two Wills were on, and they kind of went through. And he just talks about the potential for Scarif Battleforce. It's like, so if you just look, we have Imperial High Command coming in Q1 2026, which is where New Krennic is.
Yeah.
In Q1, you also have Imperial Shore Troopers for 2026. They're in there.
For the re-releasing.
Yeah, so that'll be soft plastic to hard plastic, not a repack, because Shore Troopers are soft plastic currently, right?
Yes, they are. So that'll be the reissue with hard plastic.
So
that'll be cool.
From my perspective here, and the lens I'm looking at it through as a business case, right, is if I'm going to put the effort in, I want them to sell. So, and a Battleforce is a new and exciting way to push that forwards. So having the soft plastic to hard plastic conversion for Shore Troopers, we have Krennic is going to be out around the same time. Going through the other Imperial stuff, we have Range Troopers, which are that's just a rebox, right? That isn't necessarily... Range Troopers are
I
hard
believe
plastic.
that's they are, they were on sprues. So that's probably just a reboxing.
Yeah, well, maybe throw them in there, be all right. Put them in.
Sure.
So then the other in Q2.
Why would you have Range Troopers on a beach planet though? That seems.
It's they go ranging across. There's lots of Scarif we've not seen. I don't know.
It's a stretch.
I don't know.
It's a stretch.
And honestly, you're probably right there purely because Thrawn, Taj, and all of those other people don't have to be in the Battleforce either, just because they're coming out in Q1. But the things that I was pretty interested in as we look into Q2 is we also get the E-Web and the 74Z speeder bike. I always want to say Z74, but it's not. It's 74Z speeder bike. They're getting the repacks, which is going soft plastic to hard plastic. So one of the things we were discussing when we were kind of spitballing this topic was there's no reason why you couldn't put, a couple of extra bits on those sprues to make speeder bikes where you can build them as snow troopers, build them as shore troopers, build the speeder bikes potentially with different head options. Same with the E-Web.
Yeah.
And then that kind of fits into your Scarif theme.
Yeah, you could have shore troopers on the bikes type of thing as much as anything, right? Yeah, that would make sense. It'd be the perfect time to do it because all the bikes themselves were a hard plastic of some kind, but they weren't on a sprue. But all of the riders were soft plastic, right?
It was
because they came out in the beginning box.
Oh, what's it called? I can't remember. It's not actually the same hard plastic. It's like the vac formed one. So I remember I was actually chatting to Shek at Adepticon. We were having a conversation. This wasn't it wasn't an on the record thing, but it's nothing like secret. But it's those things that were pre-assembled. I think is it a polyurethane? Oh, I can't remember the exact material, but it is a different kind of plastic.
It's not ABS.
Basically. It's not the same plastic that you'd use for the sprues.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
But yeah, as you said, it's a repackage for a speeder bike. Sorry, a recutting of sprues for speeder bike, and same for the E-Web. And then we have Imperial Death Troopers as well in Q2, which that's all things.
Yeah, those were soft plastic too. Yep. Okay.
I would.
Okay.
I believe that he just told us on that interview, right? in the same way that he's mentioned they were wanting to do a Geonosian battle force in the past, and then I think we spoke about this previously, but they just mentioned they didn't have enough units to make it feel like a Geonosian battle force.
Right.
So, like, why would you bother? With this, you've got the core of what would make a Scarif themed list.
Sure.
And it's all gonna be like expensive models that they've put design work into. It's not just reboxing old stuff. So
right. Yeah.
I feel like that I would stake a large amount of my Legion stuff on this being being something we get to see, which makes me sad because I've painted and put a lot of effort into almost finishing my Scarif Deploy the Garrison list, and I'm gonna have to rebuy it all in these new plastics. So curse you.
So one more thing. So I've recently rewatched Rogue One, and if we look at the 3D objective tokens, just to put another point on there, they have the master switch as a POI, and then they have these other boxes on the bottom right too. Yeah. Those were power stations and other things that we see on Scarif.
Yeah.
They're on other Imperial worlds too, but on film they were at Scarif. Like 4 of these things for sure. It's like
so. This is where I stop being as certain and start being more speculative now. I would say that there's enough stuff there to do a Battleforce splash release. If you consider like the Blizzard Force box is going to go away because it's soft plastic, right?
Right.
But the way you kind of do it is stealing an idea from Games Workshop or just blatantly lifting it. They do an army launch box where it is like the new models for a faction with you get the codex early, that kind of thing, and it's just a splash release. They make X number of them. Once they're gone, they're gone. But you could do a Scarif box that has your Imperial Force in it, have those objectives in there as well, and sell it. And maybe it comes out later as like a value bundle, or maybe you kind of that comes out in Q4, or you know what I mean. Maybe there's a way of kind of doing it because Q4 is probably early, but yeah, maybe like it could come out in Q1 as tying into the release with the other things. But I think there's for me. If you look at the end of 2025, Q4 2025, there isn't that much stuff on there. We've got customizable Jedi generals, customizable super tax, clone troop marksman, Grievous and wheel bikes, arc troopers. Then we've got Wookiee warriors, tank, ATST, saber. But a lot of that, like ATST, saber, tank, Wookiees are just a reboxing.
I think all 4 of those, actually, all 4 of those except for arcs are going to be reboxes because they're all on sprue already.
Yeah.
It'd just be the arcs with the new box.
So if you sneak those out early in Q4, you could have a Christmas release of a Battleforce box. And then again, this is more speculation than nailed on now, but that's what I would be happy to see is just an extra boost. You've got the starter boxes come out early in that post summertime hype. Generally, the timing tends to be around when students have got their bursaries and grant money. Is when you want to release a big box. It's a good time for. I don't want to poke too many holes in industry secrets here, but that time when students get to borrow a bunch of money that they're not worried about paying back yet, it's a really good time to release expensive toys. But then after that, you do really good value
Capitalism.
stuff for Christmas. Look, man, I'm a big fan of capitalism until you find me something better. You know, I'll take it. It keeps me down the same as everybody else, but I don't find anything better just yet.
Sure. Well, I think aiming towards your 2026 Q2 redoing Battleforces is probably as good a time as any, because Q1, just thinking Blizzard Force specifically, Q1 we get Imperial Pro Droids finally, and then also they're re-releasing Rebel Vets, Snow Troopers, also in Q2, along with all of the other like Scarif ones that we already mentioned. So,
yeah, so well, you get the ATST is end of Q4. You get a new box for the ATST, which is obviously we've already got the hard plastic ATST with Vice and Chewie in there, but it's a part of the Battleforce, right? And then because I think in my article, I think it was the article I wrote on May 25th, what's missing from Star Wars Legion, repacks, discontinued units, and what might return. I went hard on Hoth stuff being a focus. So yeah, I could see. I would have liked to have seen those be the starter boxes. If I'm honest, I mean, I get it, Luke and Vader, and they are the cheaper option, and maybe they are a direct replacement for those battle forces that were kind of 800 points. But I still think that the idea of splash releasing Battle Force boxes is very appealing to me. But
sure,
yeah, like you've got T-47s again. We've got the E-Webs and speeder bikes we've already spoken about. They would fit perfectly. Like, there's a lot of stuff if you want to do a Blizzard Force and Hoth Echo-based defenders.
Yep. Yeah, because we'll have Hanton, Luketon is their big ad for that.
Yeah, and like we know 100% that they're getting added to a Battle Force, right? There's no doubts in our minds about that.
Yeah, absolutely not. And Tons are getting reissued Q1, T-47 getting reissued Q1, and then Rebel Vets Q2. The only thing I don't see is the pizza gun. Where's he hiding? They're not set to be re-released. The 1.4 FD is Q4.
It's Q4,
yeah. But otherwise, I mean,
that's when you get the Stormtrooper unit. Yeah, that's when you get the Stormtrooper unit expansions as well, though, which you need to do your Stormtrooper special
Mos Eisley pack. Sure.
No, the heavy response units from Blizzard.
No, that came with Blizzard. It was always a print and play.
I know, but what I'm saying is that's the box that you need to make the guns, right? Because otherwise, there's only the two guns that come in the. So, yeah, it gives you extra heavy options for them. Oh.
Sure. Yeah, but those are print and play now, and if you have the minis, you can use them now. But
I don't care about people who have the minis. It's about selling more models and keeping the company in business. Right?
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
I've gotta give Disney their dues. Gotta pay the bills. Keep the lights on. No, I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was you. You went Hoth there, didn't you? So
I did.
This one's been niggling at you know where I'm going next. This one's been niggling at me since Adepticon and the sit down interview I did with Will, and I kind of didn't run with it enough. I think there was more lines of questioning that I could have gone down, but I'm kind of looking at this release here, and Q4 2026 seems pretty light in numbers. And if you look around what we have, you've got like Dewback Riders. That's a Tatooine unit, right? You've got
Sure is.
You've got some fun stuff there, but Will said he brought up Hutt. When I was asking about what's to come for Shadow Collective, he spoke about Hutt, and it's always been interesting what that would look like. And I jumped on bounty hunters. So we don't see any of the soft plastic bounty hunters on any of this list, right?
I don't think so.
No,
like old Boba.
Yeah.
Bosk.
Yeah. So young Boba, not old man Boba. Soft plastic Boba, soft plastic
the original
Imperial.
So originally Imperial.
All I've been thinking since we had then Mandalorian Grogu showed off the trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu shows off Jabba's son, who I can only ever remember as Stinky. But he's now a gladiator.
Yeah, I can't remember his second name.
A big muscular Hutt.
The swole Hutt.
Yeah.
Which is way more terrifying, I think. It's like, oh, he could just rip you apart. Okay.
Yeah. But like potential Hutt models could be good because that should have been out for a few months in 2026. So maybe some Hutt models. We don't have Gamorreans. So Gamorrean Guard could go in there. You also have the weak ways are obviously a big part. If you think of Jedi, there's a lot of weak ways on those skiffs. We have the tank, but we don't have, and the tank's like a medium
like
transport, right? Yeah, but
well, this tank is more like a gunship. Than
but it was supposed to be a light of. That's what I was like. The tank, the WL-05 speeder tank, they've kind of pitched as a light heavy. We don't currently have
like a glass cannon.
Yeah, we don't have something along the lines of an open topped speeder kind of thing, right? So maybe you could get some skiffs to be cheap transports. It could be interesting, like really light on guns, but just taking advantage of the transport mechanics. But yeah, I feel like there's potential for Hutts because the more you kind of go down that route of what needs to be recut and what's missing, and what you want to do with that mercenary faction, because there's some stuff that doesn't fit in Shadow Collective, and you kind of want to branch it out. Hutt Clan would be really cool. It's a really good excuse to do the that 5 model box, that sweet spot we were talking about when we interviewed them.
Yeah.
Of having how many bounty hunters are on in Empire? There's Bosk, Boba, Zuckuss, Forlom, Dengar.
Forlom, Dengar.
Yeah, so that's 5, right?
Oh, that's 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a good number to me. Could have
interesting
some cool bounty hunter action in there. There's so much.
Yeah, I mean, you could even have
stuff.
Hondo. I feel like Hondo would possibly work with the Hutts where he wouldn't work with Maul. Like they had already mentioned, like Hondo doesn't work with Maul, but he'd probably work with the Hutts.
Yeah.
Along with this Weekoi.
And that's it. Like, kind of making them Raider units. And it's really interesting though, right?
Sure.
There's so much you can do in that area, but that would be really cool. That one, I'm just going to say I'm 100% certain that there's going to be a Scarif Battle Force, and that we're going to see it in like. Okay. My journalistic integrity won't let me say that. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to roll that back. I'm like 90%, 99% sure that we're going to get a Scarif Battle Force.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure there'll be one.
I'm like 60-40 on Hutt Clan.
Sure.
I definitely think that we're going to get the Empire bounty hunters.
Yeah,
I feel like
it'd be a huge
that
miss
box
if
is,
we.
yeah.
It'd be a huge miss with Andor coming out and stuff like that of not getting something to go along with some of the stuff there. But I mean, obviously we've got all the Rogue One characters. It would be neat to see like a Chirrut and Baze make it to Legion in some form.
Oh,
Obviously,
you've got to redo. You've got to redo Andor, K2, and Jin all need resculpting. That's 3. You might as well put the other 2 in there.
I thought Cassian was already hard plastic. I think K2 and him are hard plastic. Jin is soft plastic, though. Yeah.
I'm just trying to. Yeah. So, do you see a? Oh gosh, I'm going through now. I do not see a Cassian on here. Lando. No. Yeah, I don't see it.
Huh.
There's a bunch of characters in Q3 coming out in 2026. Right. So yeah, I doing a Cassian, K2, Jin, Baze, and Chirrut. I feel like that's a box that sells itself, right?
Yeah. And it could be pushed to Q4 where they haven't finalized where they can tell us yet, but like it would fit within the timeline. That kind of 2-year.
I feel like we have that pattern.
Like they're far enough along to give us new cards.
They'll do spoilers of stuff like a couple of months in advance. You start talking more about the actual models. Then a month out, we start to see rules and stuff like that. So, yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of the hidden in plain sight in what they're kind of giving us. And the only thing I've not done yet that I wanted to do, and maybe this is a job to go along with the article when this one comes out, to go a bit more of a deeper dive, is I want to cross-reference these quarterly release blocks with their Shatterpoint ones. Because what you want to look for is if something lines up where there's, for example, this isn't going to happen because it just did the Scarif stuff for Shatterpoint. But if the Scarif stuff was coming out at the same time for both systems, then that's a clear marketing opportunity to push something along those lines, which is where you get the we got the sweeper cell and the we got sweeper cell and riot control for Legion at the same time as we got the Rebels crew for Shatterpoint. So you had that Phoenix Squadron kind of feel for the marketing push. Right.
Yep.
So you kind of look for overlaps in those, and that's where you can kind of glean extra information as well, because that's how you do. Well, Alan's face. What was it, Alan?
I just had a thought. It's like, going along with the Rogue One, I'm like, man, what are we going to put for the Rebels? I mean, obviously Sleeper Cells works, but like, there's all of Saw's stuff. Like, we put a bunch of Saw's Renegades in there. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, Saw, I mean,
just a thought.
You could do Saw and his sister, Stella. Is it Stella?
Yeah.
You could do that for Republic era stuff, right?
Yeah, you could do a multi-era pack.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
interesting.
There's such a lot of cool stuff that I it's just primed there for. So I do want to see more, not necessarily GAR battle forces, but something else for Separatists that makes them feel different. So I get experimental droids feels like a very game mechanic driven change, as we discussed when it came out, right? That they'd stated that wasn't inspired by any like the Wookiee defenders are obviously inspired by the scenes in Revenge of the Sith, but the experimental droids came out as more of a mechanical
Was not
kind
the
of
counter
Battleforce.
of that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that there's scope. I don't think we have anything confirmed for the separatist version of Imperial High Command and Heroes of Rebellion. So we've got the
Right.
Heroes of a 501st box in Q1 2026. You know what you could do is
Sure.
I don't know what separatist high command. You could do an Admiral Trench. You could do
Potentially
a Rift Tamsin. Is it Rift Tamsin for the Shark dude?
He's the shark one, right?
Yeah, but then you do an Aquadroid Battleforce. Just
yeah, aquas and crabs.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool. Because
get the dive troopers.
But yeah, you want to kind of look at where you have scope to kind of make things different, right? And at the moment, you have the separatists all geared towards: are you going a lightsaber or are you just taking a lot of droids? That should probably change once we get these wheel bikes and that kind of list pivots.
Mm-hmm.
But then doing something
you could have a speed freak type of list.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of scope to do really fun stuff there. But yeah, this one, so I think we went from almost 100% down to like 60. This is my 20% as I feel like we might get an Aqua Droid with Riff in there. Would be pretty cool. Oh.
That'd be pretty neat, but probably a lot less likely than some of the other things.
I definitely am feeling the lack of a separatist command box, right? So maybe we'll see. Because they've got
but that's also kind of not their thing. Like they're already got like Dooku and Asajj being redone, and then Darth Maul being redone.
You say that, but if you think about every story arc in Clone Wars, it generally has a commander, a separatist commander arc tied to it. Because good storytelling always riffs off of the
we also
villain,
see
right?
the super tax and those types of things.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you've got the guy who commands the Citadel. Ooh. You could do something with him. You could do Admiral Trenchula, Space Commander.
Yep. Okay.
You've got Riff.
Sure.
As an aggressive commander, and you're kind of missing one other archetype, right? So I'm sure there's someone.
Wat Tambor.
Yeah, you could do a Wat. I mean, you could even do another. You could do. Okay. This one is going a little bit out there. They want to do a Geonosian Battleforce. They've said it, and they don't have enough Geonosian units, right? Just release some zombie Geonosians. It's easy. From the Brain Invaders.
Sonic Cannon.
Yeah, Sonic Cannon, the Brain Invaders arc where you have the Queen. Oh, yeah. Let them take some Brain Invaded Republic units.
That would be interesting.
Would be pretty cool, right?
That'd be very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Like have some clones that you play in with CIS.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a thought.
Yep. Okay. I feel like we're probably
Nantex. I like ships.
Oh no. I mean, I suppose we have we have the speeder, the T-47. So they can do stuff, but Yeah, it's always the size that kind of makes me hesitant. I think
They're small though. Like those little Nantex are not very big.
the
You put them on an
long,
oval
I
base without too
suppose
much issue, I
it
think.
can overlap the base, right? So yeah, maybe, and it shoot all around apart from the back. So yeah, could be interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna kind of start closing this out because we're probably hitting the hour mark now. So anything, any
Oh
other?
yeah, probably.
Have you got your a 20% that you're some almost wish listing?
No, not really. Nah. I mean, if we could get like a one of the ties. Oh gosh, my X-wing is knowledge has failed me.
TIE
What's
Striker.
not the Reaper? What's the other ship?
The Striker.
That was Striker. There we go. Oh, a TIE Striker. That'd be cool.
The TIE Striker for the Scarif Battleforce. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, 100%,
I mean,
that'd be cool.
You'd definitely play Scarif then, wouldn't you?
100%. I would take all the Strikers.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. I don't. So I'll write it all up at the end, and then I'll be like, oh, I miss this, or a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, I think we've got a bunch of cool
I've got
terrain.
a Krennic quote this time.
Okay,
you've
got it. You've got it. Okay, well, I'll wrap up, and then
I've got you.
But yeah, like we've got a lot of, like I say, you mentioned the new objective packs. You mentioned we've got the new kind of terrain, that kind of combo thing that they're doing where it's ambiguous in scale, so it crosses with Shatterpoint as well. But we're getting a lot more Outer Rim kind of stuff. So hopefully they take us on some interesting journeys that are kind of expanding the game. And if the battle forces do push those boundaries and make a wider selection, it could be very interesting and kind of moves Legion onto that next level as a miniatures game, when you kind of break out of that I'm here for Luke Skywalker. You can kind of, okay, let's be honest, it's Legion, I'm here for Darth Vader. You kind of push into that I'm here because it's an excellent game with a lot of diversity. And that's the goal, right? Sure. That's what we as a community all want, is to not have those mirror matches, to be able to take stuff and it all be viable. And the imperfect balance will be interesting, and it gets easier in one regard. It gets easier as the game gets wider, because there's more to explore. So it could be interesting times ahead, I believe, and I'm here for it. I picked up a gauntlet, I probably fumbled it, and I dragged Alan along to get insulted for how bad we are with me. So I'll let him have a better topic for next time. But I think we're going to start looking at I'm definitely looking at some either written or video kind of content that's going to go through picking up where we left off a year ago, it feels like, where we were covering the objectives and stuff like that. I've got some ideas of like going through units for early activations and late activation units. So I thought that could be a decent topic for next time.
Sure.
So if you want to jump onto this,
I'd also be interested.
Okay.
Sorry. I'd also be interested in looking at Recon specifically, just because they're going to be pushing this harder, because each of these new starter boxes is, a Recon mode in itself. Like looking at those and maybe list building
the starters.
Your first list out of the box. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to just steal Winter Moon's content, we can do that. Too. That's fine.
Oh, I haven't been paying attention to their stuff.
David has done
Dave.
some breakdowns of different lists that you can build from the starter boxes. But we can certainly put our spin on it. And I feel like maybe that
we could look at the objectives instead.
Well, yeah, we can do that. But the thing I was talking about there is a potential thing we can probably hit is like it's going to be applicable across all things, but specifically looking at it for Recon to start is your early activation units
Sure.
and late activation units, and kind of how you do
No, that
that.
makes sense.
That turn one, because obviously turn 0 used to be a very important thing that we'd talk about. Turn 1
Right.
of this game of Legion that we now live in is like doubled down, right? It's so
Yep.
easy to feel like you've won or lost a game. So I think that could be an interesting talking point. And if you have any suggestions, jump on the Discord and let us know what you think for your early activations in the game. And we'll tell you why we think you're amazing and just steal your ideas for our podcast.
All
Okay,
right.
Alan, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Wish listing? Really? A man of your talents?
It's a simple life.